It's a big game. We just can't make it bigger than it is by mentally getting in a state to where you become tight and you start doing things that are uncharacteristic of you. So that's going to be the challenge for us, is to be able to stay cool, calm, and collected, and play our game to the in a hostile environment.
Did you see that happening to the team last year? From all the turnovers that BYU committed, even though you weren't?
Yeah. It was difficult last year to keep. I saw it more so from our defense, because they played really well, and we kept, giving them the ball back, and they kept having to defend short fields, and then big play after big play, and it's disheartening. As much as you want to be the guy who scratches and claws to the very end, you can only, the threshold is only so high. So we hope to, as an offense, to take care of the ball, and we trust in our defense to make plays, and if we can take care of the ball and put together drives, I feel that it'll put us in a position to to win the game towards the end.
The 7 years it's taken you to get in this position.
Right.
Can you kind of reflect on that journey a little bit?
It's just I've learned a lot, and I've played in a lot, been exposed to a lot of different stadiums and a lot of different environments, and none quite like this. But I'm hoping that kind of the body of work, or the culmination of those 7 years, make it so that come walking out on that field on Saturday, I can be nice and poised and calm, and be able to execute our game plan.
Their defensive line, talented, big,
no doubt.
NFL guys on there. What concerns you about them?
No question. We got to get bodies on bodies, and we got to make sure we target. And of course, this is nothing special for Utah, but I need to get the ball out of my hand on time. That's a part of our offense that is a big part of our game plan going into every game. So if I can be able to get my pre-snap reads and my post-snap reads, and get the ball, deliver the ball on time and quickly, hopefully I don't give those guys a lot of opportunity to not only hit me, but they are very talented pass rushers and run stoppers, and if we can do those things, then hopefully you can't stop them, but hopefully we can neutralize them at times.
Also, they're missing a couple key people in the secondary. Right. How much do you have to take advantage of what's out there? Can you?
They're very deep. I mean, a team like Utah has a lot of talent, and though they may be missing a few guys, I know the guys, from what I've seen on film, the guys they have on the field are definitely adequate and very good players. So we just need to make sure that we're in the right spots. I need to make sure that my timing is on, and accuracy is at a high level, and that'll lead to good execution. So, we know they have good players going in, and it is what it is. So we just have to execute our game plan.
Just from watching John Hayes on television a little
Right.
bit, do you think you have some common qualities with him, kind of a gamer?
Yeah, John has been thrown in a lot like me. I don't know him personally at all. I've never met the guy or even been able to say hello to him, but I know he's been thrown in a lot, so I can kind of share that with him, because that's been my role for the majority of my college career. And I know the guy's you can see it in his eyes on TV and stuff that it doesn't bother him, and he stays very cool, calm, collected, and I think that comes from self-confidence in himself. So he is a more than adequate quarterback, and I think we'll be able to lead their offense pretty well this Saturday.
You've grown up seeing this rivalry,
right,
in Utah. Do you think the hostility of it has kind of been decreased over the years, or is it because it kind of reached a fever pitch a few years ago? Bronco and Kyle both asking for fans to calm down a little bit.
So I grew up a Utah State fan, and I don't think either of these two schools are more hostile than Utah State was towards BYU when I was growing up. So I know they like to think that they're hostile, but it was worse being an Aggie fan and having to sit through blowouts, and that anger just kind of boiled up inside of you. But no, I don't know. I don't get on the internet. I don't read papers. I don't, fans, I'll get, when we have our little fan day or whatever, just do one thing for me, beat Utah. So, I know that's important to our fans, but for us, we know we're playing a quality opponent on Saturday and need to prepare well and then come out and execute.
As one of the leaders on this team, do you tell everybody to just forget about what happened last year, or you try to use what happened last year as motivation?
Well, we are, in preparation for this game, we're watching film from last year, and so guys see it, and obviously it leaves a bad taste in their mouth. But not so much as an emotional motivator, but just from a learning standpoint, is like, okay, we made these and these and these mistakes. Now let's not make them again. And if we can do that, then we'll put ourselves in a good chance, or in a good position.
Riley, do you ever wonder what might have been? You were recruited by Utah. Do you ever sometimes wonder what if you'd gone and played for Utah? Did that ever enter your mind?
Yeah, but only to the extent that when I drive home, it'd be about an hour shorter. So it wouldn't be 2 hours. It'd be about an hour 10, and so I could be up on the lake a lot quicker. You know what? I've thought about it, and I wouldn't get guff for growing my hair long if I was up there. But beyond those two things, no, I haven't given much thought to it.
Is this an acceptable length right now?
I think so. Yeah. No, none of my teachers, nobody's ever said anything. So I could shave, but we won't mention that.
How does the back feel leading up to the game?
Yeah, it's good. It's just typical tightness. You get a face mask. It was a helmet to the back, and it's good. It loosened up. I'm getting treatment. It's a non-issue.
How much is
Yeah, no question.
last year's game? Sorry if you've been asked this, but
No problem.
how much is last year's game and the result driving you guys in this game? And
It's more of a learning tool than it is because in my experience with this game, and it's been obviously it worked out for us in 2009, 2010, 2011. But a recurring theme that happens is there's way too much emotional and psychological buildup. So if we can kind of keep that to a minimum, it's going to happen naturally, just because it's a quality opponent. There is so much history behind it. So we can't let that last year's game, feed that fire. We need it to feed the fire of, okay, these are our mistakes, learn from them, and not make them again this Saturday. So last year's game was more of a learning tool than anything else.
You were a very emotional guy, though, so will you try to keep all the emotions out of it just when you
I need to. Otherwise, probably my first 4 passes will go about 20 yards or 20 rows into the stands. So I need to, try and stay as cool and calm and collected as I can. And yeah, I think that'll allow me to direct our offense in the way that it needs to be directed.
So are you telling yourself not to make this game as big as?
No, I mean you can't be an ostrich either and bury your head in the sand. So I recognize it and I embrace it, but at the same time it's football, and I can't say it enough, but it's football against a very good quality opponent. So all my years in college football have taught me that when you go into a situation like that, you can't act outside of character. You have to be you. You have to play the same way you would any given week. So that's the approach that I'm taking.
Riley, Utah's defensive line has been the strength of their defense. Talk about what you've seen on film and just kind of what you expect there, and maybe how you guys plan to kind of counteract it.
We just need to make sure we got bodies on bodies. I mean, we're going to lose one-on-one battles. That happens. Just like for a quarterback, you make a bad throw, or just for a DB, it drops an interception or something like that. That's going to happen. But if we can, prepare ourselves enough mentally and know our game plan inside and out to be able to, at least neutralize those guys at times, then I feel like, it shouldn't be too big of a deal.
Star Lotulelei is kind of one of the top defensive tackles in the country. You have visions of him at night before you go to sleep, anything like that, or anything crazy about that guy? In your mind, seeing that guy coming at you?
No, man, he's a good player. So yeah. I just got to get the ball out of my hand, and yeah, he's a lot bigger than I am. So hopefully I don't have to go head up with him, or hopefully he doesn't get a free shot at me. So if I can get the ball out of my hand in a quick, efficient manner, it should be able to neutralize that. And I'm fully prepared to take hits and all the stuff that comes through playing major college football.
You mentioned about fully being prepared to take hits. How are you feeling physically?
Good. Yeah, no problems.
The back bugging you at all?
No, that was just a typical. I mean, that was more of a coach's decision than anything else. And like I mentioned after the game, is we wanted to get both Lark and Taysom some time, and it was one of those things where coming in from halftime, it was going to tighten up, and they said, "Can you go?" And I said, "Yeah." And they said, "Well, we don't really want you to go." So that's all that was. And I would have liked to maybe add a couple more series, but I don't make those decisions, and yeah, I'm ready and raring to go this week.
How hard was it to sit on the sidelines last year and watch all of that unfold?
It was frustrating just from the standpoint of we kind of lost our fight towards the end. So now that I'm a senior and in a position to influence our guys, that is one thing that will not happen, is that we will fight, scratch, and claw till the very end, no matter what the scoreboard says. So, and if we can do that, you know, I'm confident that not only will the same thing that happened last year not happen again this year, I think we'll be in a position to win the ball game.
Is it tough maybe not to get too emotionally high for this game, and you got to keep that down a little bit? Or is there a fine balance there?
It is. I mean, once you kind of come into our meeting rooms and listen to Coach Mendenhall, it's football, and you have to prepare, and it's a good opponent, and you have to do the same things. The tough part comes from going to class, and you know, cousins and aunts and all, everybody comes out of the woodwork wanting tickets and wanting to know, you know, oh, is there, you know, give me the inside scoop. And that's how it's different from another game week. When we're in here and kind of in, I guess you could say, the sanctuary of our locker room and meeting rooms, it's just, we know we're preparing for a good opponent. It's all the external stuff that can kind of wear on you if you let it.
What was your view of the rivalry? You were an Aggie fan growing up. Did you
Aggies, I think the Aggies dislike BYU more than any other team. So yeah, I was, and I always cheered for the Utes by default. So, yeah, so I always kind of cheered for Utah just because I wanted BYU to lose every game growing up. But yeah, it was a fun rivalry. I remember a couple games. I remember a game that was like 3-3, and it was snowing so hard you couldn't even see the field. And then I remember Coach Dullman when he scored on that quarterback sneak or whatever. And so I remember very few of those games. I don't remember a lot of them because most of them I was at the Utah State games watching the Aggies play and was only hearing scores. So.
Can you talk about Utah's secondary? They always field a very athletic secondary.
Yeah.
They run a lot of man-free and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about what you've seen this year from their secondary?
Yeah, more the same. A lot of athletic guys, and they have been mixing in a lot more zone than is typical. But just like our game plan changes from day to day, so does theirs. So it'll be interesting to see what they come out and choose to do against us. But you know, our coaching staff and their coaching staff, Coach Whittingham's and Coach Mendenhall's coaching staffs have been coaching against each other so long. I don't think anybody's going to break out any surprises. So it's just a matter of executing your game plan. And as far as their secondary goes, I just have to make good, timely decisions and not give those guys an opportunity to, you know, to make a play on perhaps maybe a late ball or an inaccurate pass.
What about pass rush? Do they get creative there? Or do they try to rush?
Yeah, they do. They do. They you know, they move guys all around and try and create mismatches. But eventually, you know, they're either bringing 3, 4, 5, or 6, and depending on it, we got to know how many they're bringing and how many blockers we have and where they're coming from. And it is football at the end of the day. They're a very talented team, but it's football, and there are only so many coverages you can play. There's so many blitzes you can bring. There's so many stunts and twists you can do with your defensive line up front. So we're studying all that stuff very hard, and hopefully we can manage it on Saturday.
How important is that interior line play against their interior presence and being able to run the ball and also, you know, getting the protection you need to be able to deliver it?
It's very important. Football starts as much as it's become a passing game, and you see the kind of passing numbers that you see. It starts up front, and a lot of that has to do with a psychological edge, because it is a physical game, and if you're running the ball well, then that means you're most likely being more physical than the other team. So it's very important.
You like the matchup there that you guys have with your O-line going against what you've seen from their defensive line?
Yeah, if we can, you know, prepare well enough during the week and know what they're going to do, and we have answers for it, and then it just becomes one-on-one battles, and you don't got to win every one. You just you know, have to win the majority of them, and it'll put ourselves in a chance to win the game, position to win the game.
Well, this is your last go-around with the rivalry. What are you going to miss most, and what aren't you going to miss?
I'm going to miss playing. That's the biggest thing, just playing football, playing the game I love. And I mean, heck, if it was I don't know, Southeastern Missouri State Tech. Like, I would miss just playing football. So, yeah, I don't know. That's what, and as far as what I'm not going to miss, I don't being so sore, I guess. I don't know. That's never fun when you can't get out of bed on Sunday, but.